We have some conflicting reports on how Shedeur Sanders' draft visit went with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today, I'll be breaking those down on today's edition of Steelers Talk. Then we also have a new report on Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord and the Steelers having some potential mid-round interest in him. And then we'll get into Andrew Filipponi's latest report on who the Pittsburgh Steelers are really targeting in round one of the NFL draft this year. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Later today, we will be going live on this channel. 5 p.m. Eastern Time is when we're going to be going live on Steelers Talk. Actually, I think we're going to go live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time today on this channel. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I greatly appreciate all of your guys' support. And join us later to kick off your weekend. So did Shedeur Sanders have a good visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers last week? There's certainly some people that are out there saying that he did have a good meeting and that the Steelers came away impressed with the Colorado quarterback. But NFL insider Aaron Wilson, who covers the Houston Texans in Houston, claims that he heard that Shedeur Sanders' visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers, quote-unquote, did not go well, and that, quote, the Pittsburgh Steelers will not be taking him. This was the exact clip from Aaron Wilson on Texans Today here by Chat Sports.
He's wondering about Shedeur Sanders. People wonder about the New Orleans Saints and Shedeur. People think about the New York Giants. I've heard he will not be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I heard that meeting did not go well. And that wasn't from someone telling me that, because this is always the assumption that it's because someone's trying to affect these boards. But somebody's picking a quarterback higher than expected.
So listen, man, I just want to say up front here that I don't have access to Aaron's source. Obviously, it's an anonymous source, and I don't have access to it. So I don't know 100% for sure how this meeting went. And to be fair, there is a lot of conflicting reports out there in terms of just how good Shedeur Sanders' draft visit went with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and some very reputable people have said that it went really well. Peter Schrager from ESPN said that Sanders and Pittsburgh had a quote-unquote really good 5-hour meeting, even though five hours for a first-round quarterback prospect is pretty standard for a top 30 visit. So the 5-hour thing doesn't really put much bearing in terms of how good the visit went, but Schrager did say it went well. Also, Adam Schefter said yesterday on ESPN that the Pittsburgh Steelers met with Shedeur last week, and I can tell you they came away from that meeting impressed. They liked him more than they thought they would have. And then, of course, last week, Todd McShay reported that Mike Tomlin, the Steelers head coach, quote-unquote, really likes Shedeur Sanders. And, you know, you take a look at Shedeur's kind of personality. He's got a lot of swagger. He's got a lot of confidence. That's a lot of the things that Mike Tomlin traditionally likes in his players, so that would make some sense. But I will say, be careful, because it is lying season here, guys. And Todd McShay was the one that reported that Mike Tomlin, quote-unquote, loved Malik Willis ahead of the 2022 NFL draft. And the Steelers were even willing to trade up into the top 10 to take him. Not only did they not trade up into the top 10 for a quarterback, but they ended up taking Kenny Pickett. So that report doesn't seem to be all that true. So we have to be careful with the things McShay says about what Mike Tomlin likes and doesn't like. And in the end, guys, it's lying season here during the NFL draft season. And, you know, there's going to be people putting out fake reports out there, trying to send out smoke screens. Perhaps the Steelers, it's certainly possible that they could want to make it known out in the media that they like Shedeur Sanders, so that somebody else will take him or try to trade up for him ahead of their selection at number 21 overall. But who knows what is true at this point. But I will say, it wouldn't shock me if Aaron Wilson's report that Shedeur Sanders' meeting with the Steelers did not go well and that it went poorly, because we can turn back the clock here just a couple weeks ago in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine, where there were a number of reputable reporters that said that multiple teams at the NFL Combine didn't get a great first impression from their formal draft meetings with Shedeur Sanders in Indianapolis. This is what some of the reporting was. Josina Anderson said a quarterback coach of a top 7 pick said that he came off as brash and arrogant in their draft meeting with each other. Then Todd McShay said 2 teams said that Sanders didn't have a professional approach to the meetings and could care less what they thought of him. Then Matthew Berry from NBC said 2 teams had a quote-unquote a lesser opinion of him than prior to their meeting and had an unprofessional approach to their meetings. So this is certainly not the first time we've heard that certain meetings or visits haven't gone well for Shedeur Sanders, but you might be saying at home, but Jack, Shedeur Sanders went on up in Adams and said the meeting with Pittsburgh was a perfect 10 out of 10. So, I mean, why don't you believe Shedeur Sanders? Well, first of all, guys, what else is he supposed to say? Is he going to go up and Adams and say, it was okay. I'll get a 5 out of 10. No, of course not. He wants to keep all doors open. He wants to project the message that he's excited to go wherever he's drafted, and he also doesn't want to go out there and just trash the Pittsburgh Steelers even if it went poorly, because that would be a terrible look for the other teams that could potentially draft him in the first round. All right, he wants to project himself, and every NFL draft prospect, by the way, wants to project themselves as excited to play for any NFL team that is willing to play, that is willing to take them. And because of that, you never, ever, ever see NFL draft prospects say or admit that a draft visit went poorly. So even if it did go poorly, Shedeur Sanders is not going to admit to that on the Up and Adams show. So his rating, if you would have asked him right now, if Kay Adams would have asked him, rate every single one of your draft visits to this point, Shedeur Sanders would have given every single one of the teams a perfect 10 out of 10. All right. So the fact that Shedeur said it went well doesn't really put much bearing on the reality of it going well or not going well. But like I said, guys, it's lying season. Who knows what's going on inside the mind of Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, and the Pittsburgh Steelers? But certainly seems like it's going to be an interesting next couple of days as we get ready for the NFL draft. But either way, I don't think Pittsburgh should take him. All right, and that's just my personal opinion. I think that he is somebody that has a poor combination of not really have a lot of star upside, but he also isn't very NFL pro ready either. He lacks anticipation. I think he played in a very college-esque offense where I don't think he's ready to play in a pro-style offense right away. He's got a weak arm. He doesn't throw a good deep ball, things that are very important to the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they want to do, throw the ball down the field. I just don't think Shedeur Sanders is a fit, and frankly, I don't think he's a first-round quarterback, so I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers should make him their first-round selection. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. What is the percent chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers take a quarterback in round one? It certainly sounds like Aaron Rodgers will not be on this team the night of the NFL draft. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Put a scale of 0 to 100, 0 meaning no chance they take a quarterback in round one, to 100 meaning they're definitely taking a quarterback in round one. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section for today's pin question. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our spot, or in just a second here, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here. When that happens, take advantage of that time by putting this question on a scale of 0 to 100. So my best guess as to whether or not the Steelers will take a quarterback in round one is that they will not. Personally, I only have one quarterback in this entire class that I have a round one grade on, and that is Cam Ward out of Miami, who's going to go number one overall to the Tennessee Titans, all right? I don't have a first-round grade on Shedeur Sanders. I don't have a first-round grade on Jackson Dart, and I don't even have a first-round grade on somebody that I'm higher on than maybe the consensus in Louisville's Tyler Shough, all right? And if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not taking a quarterback in round one just to take a quarterback in round one. All right, I understand the Aaron Rodgers situation right now, but the Steelers are currently in a win-now kind of mindset. And whether you agree with that or not, I know there's a lot of Steelers fans that would rather try to build for the future and not try to win now, but that's where the Steelers are at. Omar Khan said at the Combine he still believes this team is capable of competing for a Super Bowl championship, and just the fact of the matter is, guys, first and second-year quarterbacks have a very low success rate in the NFL playoffs, all right? It takes some time to get used to that big stage, even if they have success and even if they hit. And with Cam Hayward just having 2 years left on his current contract, it certainly seems like the Steelers want to go out and get somebody with some playoff experience to be their starting quarterback in 2025. So that's what I think the QB plan is right now. I think that number one, at QB1, they want an experienced veteran at that spot. Whether that's Aaron Rodgers, that certainly seems to be plan A, but if they don't get Rodgers, I think they're going to be more than willing to trade for Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr after the NFL draft is over. Mason Rudolph will be your steady backup that you can have as your really steady number two, and then you're going to draft a mid-round developmental rookie, whether that's Kyle McCord, whether that's Jalen Milroe if he falls to them in round three. That's what I kind of think the plan is for the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point, and I do think that they're going to take a quarterback in the NFL draft, but right now my kind of feeling and vibe on what the Steelers are going to do is that they're going to take one in round 3 or round 4. I think they want to get a player that can help them win right now in round 1, whether that's a running back, a defensive tackle, And, there's going to be some quarterbacks that they've shown some interest here in the middle rounds. Jalen Milroe could fall to them at 83. You never know. Tyler Shuck is another guy that could potentially fall down the draft board given his age. Will Howard out of Ohio State, national champion, played pretty darn good football down the stretch in the college football playoff. Quinn Ewers and Kyle McCord are two other guys that are going to be available in the middle rounds that the Steelers will be considering. And a source tells Chat Sports here, guys, and this is some reporting that we have gotten from a source, that the Pittsburgh Steelers have led Kyle McCord to believe that they will take him in round 3 if he's still available. So it's McCord's belief that if he's sitting there at number 83, still on the board, and the Steelers haven't taken quarterback in an earlier round, that he will be the selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers at that spot. This source has also told Chat Sports that the New York Giants are a team that is heavily interested in Kyle McCord as well, so keep that in mind. When it comes to McCord's profile as a player, I can see why people like him, all right? He's getting some comparisons to Brock Purdy. I don't think he's quite as athletic or as good of a playmaker as Brock Purdy is, but he does throw with anticipation. I think that he sees the game like an NFL quarterback. He's got really good pre-snap processing. He gets the ball out on time. He's got good size, really good ball placement as well. I think some of the cons, he's got a longer release. I don't like his throwing mechanics that much. It's a longer release. It's kind of like a shot put type of release. And then he is very turnover prone, very high turnover worthy play percentage with the Orange last year. And he does have minus athleticism. So my grade on him is an early day 3 pick. I would rather spend a 4th round pick on Kyle McCord, but our source says that the Steelers may be considering him as early as round 3. And, I would probably put actually higher odds on Kyle McCord being the selection for the Steelers in round 3 than I would put on Shedeur Sanders being the Steelers pick in round 1. I don't think the Steelers are in a position where they feel like they have to take a quarterback or that they're desperate to take a quarterback in round 1, and I don't think that Sanders is a particularly good fit for what the Steelers want to do offensively. So I think that they would pass on Sanders in round 1, and I think it would be more likely that they take a guy like Kyle McCord in round 3 than reach on a quarterback in round 1. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, Andrew Filipponi has come out and reported who the Steelers are targeting in round 1 of the NFL draft this year. I'll be breaking that down here in just one moment. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Game Time. And the NBA playoffs are getting started. And if you want to experience the energy and the stakes of playoff basketball, you can get great seats at guaranteed low prices with our friends at Game Time today. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, and you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. The Cleveland Cavaliers have locked up the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year, heading into the playoffs, and you can experience their playoff run in the weeks to come just over a 2-hour drive from Pittsburgh. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS. That's CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so let's talk here a little bit about Andrew Filipponi's projected first-round pick, where he says that he has a source that the Steelers are going to take Oregon DT Derek Harmon as their first overall selection, that he is, quote-unquote, the clear favorite to be the Pittsburgh Steelers pick in round 1. This is the report that Filipponi put out just a couple days ago. Source, Derek Harmon has emerged as the, quote-unquote, clear favorite to be the Steelers' first-round pick. Quote, he's the total package. Art Rooney has been very vocal about the Steelers addressing D-line, something that didn't happen in free agency. Stay tuned. So, first, I would have no problem with Derek Harmon as the first-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, I think that he's very good, both as a run defender and as a disruptive pass rusher. I think he's got a little bit of a tackling issue, all right, an open space. He needs to clean that up, but he's got the quickness. He's got the get-off. I think that he's got some nice finesse and power rush moves as well. He's a versatile type of player that can be a 3-down player for an NFL team right away, in my opinion, and can be a true heir apparent to Cam Hayward on the interior of the defensive line. I would love this pick if it ends up being Derek Harmon for the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 21. And it would be even better if they traded down, got an additional day 2 pick, and still landed Harmon in the first round. But there's a few things here that, are kind of fishy about this report, or report to me. Number one, Art Rooney isn't really all that vocal about anything. One of the things that's actually good about Art Rooney as an owner is he lets his football people make the football decisions. All right, he's not, like Dan Snyder or John Tepper or Jerry Jones, where he's going to the football people and telling them what to do. No, he trusts Omar Khan. He trusts Mike Tomlin. It's the Rooney tradition to let the football people make the football decisions. Rooney understands he doesn't know as much as the scouts do and as the GM does and as the head coach does, and he lets them do their jobs, all right? So the fact that Filipponi's reporting that Rooney's getting involved here is an immediate red flag to me. Number two, he said that they didn't address defensive tackle in free agency. They brought in David Akwale to be a run-defending type of defensive tackle, and Mike Tomlin said as such. He's going to have a role in this defense, and then they brought back Isaiah Loudermilk. They still have Montravius Adams. They still have Dean Lowry, who they like, and of course, they've got their 2 bona fide starters in Cam Hayward and Keanu Benton. So the idea that they just didn't address defensive tackle in free agency, I don't think is necessarily accurate either. Number 3, the Steelers only brought in one round 1 defensive tackle for a top 30 visit this year, and it was Derek Harmon. All right, they brought in a total of 10 defensive tackles this year. All right, but only one of them is expected to go in round 1. That tells me that this team is at least considering taking a defensive tackle in the middle and even late rounds. Maybe they think about potentially double dipping here. But if they're really thinking about going defensive tackle round 1 and that Art Rooney has gone to the Steelers and have said, you have to take a defensive tackle in round 1, then why didn't they have draft visits for Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan? It makes no sense. All right, the 3 guys that are probably the most likely going to be there for the Steelers in round 1 that are worth a round 1 pick, only one of them got a top 30 visit. So unless like Derek Harmon, like he says, is truly like the number 1 draft target, and they're not interested in Grant or Nolan, they just really, really want to hone in on Derek Harmon, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to not bring these 2 guys in if you really want to get a defensive tackle in round 1. Then the final thing that kind of is a little bit fishy about this report to me is that Pony's sources are almost always wrong. And we all know this as Steelers fans, man. How many times a month does Pony put out a quote-unquote report that ends up being either just blatantly false or just ends up not happening? I mean, it happens every single year. So whoever his sources are or whatever he claims his sources are in the Steelers organization, they're obviously not very close to Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan, the people making the decisions, or the Steelers are feeding him information and kind of using him as a useful idiot to kind of put out smoke screens, do all this different stuff, because kind of like Jerry Dulac, he's very, very rarely correct on these things. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Do you believe Derek Harmon is Pittsburgh's top round 1 draft target this year? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. Like I said, I'd have no problems with Harmon being the first round pick this year, but some of the things surrounding this report make it fishy to me. Now, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We'll be going live on this channel to kick off your weekend at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time later today for the latest Steelers Talk live show. We got some stuff on Aaron Rodgers that we'll be discussing today. We got more draft rumors that we're going to be discussing. I got my last Steelers mock draft before my final mock draft before the first round kicks off next Thursday. So really do appreciate all of your guys' support. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, guys, here we go, Steelers.